Welcome to GameBreakers. This is a program where we take a look at the people who are shaking things up in their particular business, industry, or area of life. We're looking for people who don't play by the rules, who break them or bend them, and create businesses or organizations that make a real difference in South Africa and the world. And I couldn't think of a more perfect guest than our very first guest on GameBreakers, Andre Snyman from eBlockwatch. Andre, I've got a million questions for you, but firstly, welcome to the GameBreakers studio.
Thanks a lot, Tom, but I have a problem with it. I'm sort of like Mr. Goody Two-Shoes out there, Mr. eBlockwatch, who doesn't break rules. But funny, the school I went to asked me to leave 3 times.
Oh, really?
But they never got it right, so I managed to get through it there.
So I may be onto something that you're not conventional in thinking. If rule breaking,
I was a problem child, really, at school. I feel sorry. I'd like to apologize to my teachers, but it was fun.
I've never had the opportunity to apologize to mine, so I'll do it now. I'm very sorry.
Well, are we over that?
And to Mrs. Green in particular, yeah. Andre. I mean, we make light of breaking rules, and I don't mean breaking the law when I say breaking rules. And obviously, you're very passionate about the law and the law in South Africa. But you do things a little differently. You've taken advantage of social media with your organization or business, and you've created this incredible intelligence gathering capability in South Africa. Where did this start?
Gee, I don't know. I did transport. I did Dunlop Tires distribution, and it was kind of brain dead stuff. You pick up a truckload of tires and you go and deliver, and you come back and you do the same thing 365 days a year. You just had to get them there on time. But we had a problem because my trucks used to go out and get hijacked. And the guys just say, go back and load those same tires because we want to hijack that again. And they did that. They used to hijack the same truck. And eventually the insurance company said, hey, hang on, Andre, you've got a problem. So then I thought, well, okay, I come from a small town called Ermelo, and when I was there in those days, we used to have a blast lane. You know that farm?
Yes.
And then Nomeros, I believe, kind of situation. So I thought, well, this is what we need to do, because I had a friend called Kleinbut, and Kleinbut is a little naughty guy.
Is there a Kleinbut on every farm in South Africa?
I think so. Especially in Ermelo, And Kleinbut got onto the phone one evening and he rang, and the centrale nommer asseblief, and the Kleinbut said, ek wil my mammy hê. And the centrale said, hoekom Kleinbut? He says, nee, daar's 'n brand op die plaas. So they said, okay, I'll put you through to Elsie. So she, like in a small town, everybody knows each other. So that switchboard plugged her Kleinbut into the pub at the golf course.
Okay.
And at the golf course, the barman answers, no, Elsie's just left here. She's gone through to the Phoenix Hotel. So I'd plugged into the Phoenix Hotel. Oh, mate, call Elsie. All right, she's just on the dance floor. I go and call her now. And Elsie comes along and he says, Mommy, daar's 'n brand op die plaas. And somebody pipes in who's been listening. Moenie worry, Elsie, ons is hom klaar uitgesit. So that was a party line right back in the old days, 60 years ago. And that's how they communicated. Everybody was on that line. So I looked for something like that to create here. And this is in the year 2000. And SMS was the only technology around. And I found bulk SMS.
Okay.
So I started disseminating this information, and it caused quite a stir. It was nobody was doing this stuff. It was like a new thing.
What information were you disseminating, pushing
Well,
out?
basically, I said, okay, let's get everybody together in Bryanston, because I lived there, and when an incident happens, we will let them know that there's been a hijacking, and then we just all scramble together. Like, the community is a fantastic thing, and the psyche of a community is interesting, and it's all loyalty groups. Now, if you take the loyalty groups, everybody in Bryanston have their own team. They do their own thing. But when there's a problem, everybody in that community pulls together. And everybody's got different kinds of, so you harness that collective clout of that community. And as soon as the incident is over, then they still start shouting at each other and road rage in the street again. But when there's an incident, they pull together. And it works with a country, it works with a school, it works with any community. So all eBlockwatch does is it pulls that community together when there's an incident, and then you coordinate that. And the way you coordinate is you pull people in that you have developed relationships. Now, eBlockwatch has been there for 20 years. So we have, I know it's over 100,000 people, because on my website I've got somewhere around 91,000 people. On my Facebook page I've got, I think it's 34,000 people. So together there must be an overlap. So let's say it's over 100,000. But of those people, relationships are built up over a long time. It's not like IT that you switch on, you've got a relationship.
Sure.
So these relationships are built on trust. And you can break that trust in a second. So for all of these 20 years, we've been putting together people that know each other. I mean, I've never met some of these people. They're my best friends out there. I get the support. Whatever happens, I pull them in. And right now we have a situation where a guy's disappeared. They phone me all the time. Oh, geez, somebody's disappeared. And I think, not another one of these missing children kind of thing. Because the children, there's a difference between a runaway and a missing child. A runaway is a 14-year-old girl who's found a boyfriend and ran away and had a fight with her father and mother, and they don't understand her. Yeah. And then she comes back 3 days later. So you can't mobilize a whole country for that. And there are a whole lot of things you can't do. And they get involved. You take like the Lee Matthews case. I mean, that was one of our major things that we did in South Africa.
What part did you play? Did eBlockwatch play in the Lee Matthews case?
I'm not quite. Well, yeah, we actually did play quite an interesting part because there were a couple of facets to this. And the first thing is that, first of all, we disseminated the information that there was this girl that was hijacked. Yeah. Everybody phones me. They contact this, he knows what to do. Sometimes I don't, but I wing it, and then we learn through these things. So somebody contacted me and said, look, there's this girl that's been kidnapped. And I went to my computer, and I had 15,000 members at that stage. And I just hit out one message, this is the story. And of course, the media they watch my site all the time because they sit there and pick up the breaking news. What's unbroken news, which they go and break. Yeah. So they phone me up, Andre, I like that story. Can I do this one? And then I say, okay, that's yours. And I give them an exclusive. And then they run with it. And of course, it's a symbiotic kind of relationship because I give it to the media. Media writes about my project grows, more people go. So we look after each other that way. And in the Lee Matthews case, what happened there is I sent it out, the media took it, and it became a frenzy. And then what we did is we had a whole lot of people that joined up. And we didn't have no WhatsApp in those days, no Facebook in those days. But I created a blog where people could actually talk to us online. And we started getting people in from different angles. We had the top cops working with us. So we got to know the top cops. I got to know some guy from the cyber police. I never even knew they existed in those days. He came along there and he was a crazy guy. I won't even tell you what he looks like because he looked kind of awkward.
Didn't look like a cop.
He didn't look like a cop. He looked like a hugely IT kind of person anyway, he helped me tremendously. And we put a plan together. And this is what we do. I've got like 3,000 IT people on my system. And they can do stuff. They can do amazing stuff, way ahead of the curve. So the average criminal, the garden variety criminal, is really lost with these guys because they know how to catch them. Okay. And it's digitally tracking these guys down of some ways. Yeah. And then, we could do that. We could track a phone. And in those days, nobody knew. Yeah. Now everybody knows you can track a phone. So they take the SIM card out and they throw it away, put a new SIM card in, and then we can't track them. Well, okay, we leave it there. So those are the things that we could do. And we build those relationships. So these relationships that I have are amazing. So let's go now. We've got brand new technology that's come up. You've got WhatsApp groups all over the place. So every time you take that, you actually got to reinvent yourself because they take what eBlockwatch was, and then you've got these little groups coming up doing that, and it sort of like dilutes what eBlockwatch is again. But because of the strength of these relationships, everybody comes with that technology, we plug it into eBlockwatch. And so that's how we're growing, and we're growing. It's fantastic.
Am I correct in my thinking that you have 100,000 people or so around the country who are passionate about their communities?
I don't know if they're all passionate. A lot of them are just looking and saying, what the hell's going on?
Oh, really?
It's a crime website, and crime is a fascinating thing because it attracts a lot of people in a macabre way. Yeah. And they look at this, and they think, well, how can I do this if I was in this situation? So there's a lot of that talk. But there's a band of people at the bottom that are solid.
Okay.
And they're there active.
And what are those people? Are they eyes and ears? Is that
well,
what they
everybody's eyes and ears. And the thing that's important is because everybody sees eBlockwatch, they hear about eBlockwatch, they don't quite know what eBlockwatch is, and they haven't registered. And this is another thing we'll get to now because you haven't registered. I don't know why I'm talking to you because I only talk to members.
Because I came here I brought you here today to promise you that I'm about to register.
If I don't see you, I'm deleting the button.
Half an hour from now.
So I'll tell you why it's important to register just now. So, okay, You get all of these people, they're all eyes and ears. That information comes in. We create dots. We got guys sitting behind the scenes creating a dot where the crime's going. For example, let's say you own a bed and breakfast. So there's a guy in Cape Town who robs a bed and breakfast. So we say, okay, this is what happened. They put it on my crime website, which you now got a website. You put that little dot on there, so this happened to me.
So you can pin it.
You pin it.
Yeah.
And when you pin that, it sends a message to all the bed and breakfasts in the area in Cape Town, and it sends to all their Blockwatch members within 5 kilometers. So they become aware of the crime that's actually happening. This is fascinating because my new website's just gone up. So I spent the last month doing this. I'm actually quite scared to live in Bryanston because there's so many dots in Bryanston.
Really?
And we've got a gang called the Bryanston Kreepy Crawlies. We've actually named them because they crawl on the lawn. And I was wondering, why are these guys crawling? And then we found out they're crawling underneath the beams. So they've sussed out the place. They know their beams there. And so they're the Bryanston Kreepy Crawlies. So I created a WhatsApp group, the Bryanston Kreepy Crawlies, and all the victims there, I put them into this little WhatsApp group. And I said, okay, now we chat, because they talk to me, and then I've got to relate their story to next. So we have them all in the same group, chatting in the same WhatsApp group. The guy says, but that guy there was also at my place because he asked me for food.
And people
And
start
I said,
recognizing.
yeah, he also asked me for food.
Okay.
And the other guy, he's got a limp. No, that's the same guy. And eventually we found out these Bryanston Kreepy Crawlies were doing most of the robberies, and they've been doing it for years. Now you take that group out. If you take that information, you know the dots where they're going to, how they operate, where they break in. Like, for example, the fence, they break the bottom of the fence, they get in there. There's certain ways that they break in that you don't even know how they got in. Social media is the best marketing tool you can get, because you put something on social media and you get a big enough audience that people actually understand what you're doing. You might not get it right in the first month that they understand you, but after a period of a year, they actually understand what you're doing. And for me, on social media, I created, and I linked it to my personal page. And I got 5,000. I never knew you could only get 5,000 people on your own personal page. Did you know that?
Yes, I've noticed every beautiful woman in South Africa has 5,000 friends and no more.
Yes, and you know what I do? Sorry, guys out there. When there's a new person stacked there, I go and look for the pretty chick and I delete the old, ugly guy and I put the pretty chick in my... I mean, there must be some kind of perks for what I do. Yeah. Anyway, so I've got a whole lot of pretty women in my 5,000. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not just half joking. So now, okay. So that is a very important thing for what I do, crime, because people give me permission to track their children. Now, there are apps out there, and I watch this, and it's fascinating because they're panic buttons that have been handed out for free, and you've got to say, why are the people giving me free panic buttons?
Yeah.
And there's a good friend of yours of mine, I won't mention names,
Yeah.
who's going around giving free panic buttons.
Yeah.
It's for the dot to advertise to those people. Watch the small print, because when you go and get a free panic button in one of these wonderful suburbs here, watch what you're giving away. You're actually going to get people contacting you and selling you stuff.
Okay.
It's not so much, their heart's not in the security, their heart's in the marketing.
Back to there's no such thing as a free lunch.
No, absolutely. Why am I sitting here with you? I'm sitting here because you're going to be marketing my stuff. And you're going to get people to come and join your Blockwatch.
Yeah.
And why do I want people to join your Blockwatch? Because I love catching criminals. So that's what I do. So there are lots of things that you've got to be careful about. Now, I've created this persona on Facebook so people can actually understand who I am. They can see what I'm doing. They can see me with my grandson. They can see me playing with on the beach. They can see this is a real person. It's not some person sitting in China collecting data and selling it to somebody out there for marketing purposes. I could have sold my data. It's worth a fortune.
Yeah.
I will not sell one bit of it. Nobody gets my data.
Is that your promise to...
That's my promise to everybody.
Okay.
And if I happen to die, or I'm getting very old, I will find somebody responsible to take that over, or I press the delete button, I'll say goodbye to everybody, and they can just watch it, all their names deleting of the system. Because the greatest confidence you can give people is that you're not going to abuse what they've given you. And sure, there are revenue streams all over the place. You've got to keep this thing going. The people that you go, there's expenses all. There are members out there that sign up and join up with their Blockwatch. And sometimes I wonder, why the hell are they paying for the service? And then somebody said to me, because I give them peace of mind. And I think I would have done that anyway. You know?
Sure.
So there is a revenue stream. It covers my costs. It's not, and that is great because you don't feel that you actually, it's your expense and you've got to make a living out of this thing, because if you've got to make a living out of a thing, it takes the actual passion away from it. So I've been in a fortunate position that I've done my business, which has kept me going, and this thing was a passion that just developed and it went. But so it's lovely. And I want to just tell you, there's some exciting technology that there's an Afrikaans saying, it's something about a wet blanket.
Ja, wat is dit?
Dis is amper soos kak op 'n wolkkombuis, you know.
Okay, ja.
So
Ek ken daai een, ja.
You know, you ken daai ding,
Ja,
nee.
ja.
The criminals don't realize that we've got stuff that sits like on a wet blanket.
So it's,
And that is our trick. And these guys are garden variety criminals. I'm not talking about the high IT criminals,
Yeah.
but the garden variety criminals. We love catching them because they're so clueless on how they got caught, and they don't even notice us because somebody else goes and arrests them and gets, and they think, how did that happen?
So is that one of the main reasons I'd join eBlockwatch?
One of the good reasons is, okay, first of all, you get to know what the crime is in your area. Second of all, I plug you to community support. No matter where you are in South Africa, I've got a network.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you could be in Pofadder and have a sick child, like we did once, and we organized an ambulance going towards from Upington to Pofadder. We had a doctor behind the ambulance. I SMS'd all my farmers in South Africa and I said, I don't have any members in Pofadder. They started sending messages through to their support. They had aeroplanes waiting at the airport to fly this guy to the biggest, the hospital, wherever it was.
So you're able to mobilize.
So
people.
you had a car traveling at 160 k's an hour this way and a car traveling at 160 k's an hour that way. So to me, that works out at like 320 kilometers an hour you're traveling. The doctor arrived and revived these two twins that were in the back of a car. The father was trying to keep them going because
Wow.
they had had some virus. They picked it up. Both of them, they were like on a farm. They weren't used to viruses. And these kids were saved. So that is what it is. Putting communities together to solve one person's problem.
Right. So
When you have an old lady that's getting bullied, like we had one woman who was overseas, and the lady was getting bullied and it was a grand. My grand's getting bullied in Springs. I estimated all my members in Springs. I said, there's a lady over there. She needs help. These people arrived there, and then they pull the security in, and then they pull the local cops in. And that bully all of a sudden found out, hey, this is not so cool. This is not a cool thing.
I come from Springs, and I wouldn't want to be the bully that everyone's rocked up on your
I reckon that
doorstep.
you got bullied, that's why you left.
only by the Afrikaans rugby teams. There.
Yeah, that's when we don't take kindly to people like Tom London, you know.
So, listen, you've almost blown my membership with that one.
Okay. I just want to tell you one thing about why you shouldn't go to Facebook for missing kids.
Yeah.
Unless you are very serious about it. Because what happens is, they're people that are just so quick. You're missing kid, they can't wait. They make a little poster and they put it up there, and the poster goes out. Now, that little child is normally a 14-year-old girl. And I've mentioned this earlier.
Yes.
Why is it a 14-year-old girl? Because girls are going through adolescence at that age. They normally in standard 6 are going into the high school.
Does it embarrass them and create real problems?
What? Going through adolescence?
No, put in the posts out on Facebook.
I'll tell you why. So now they're going through this, and they're having problems with their family because every little girl goes through a troublesome period at that age. They get targeted by elder guys that try and know these cute little girls, okay, normally matrics or whatever. Okay, so then they have this problem, and now they run away from home. Either with a guy, or they've had a fight with one of their friends, and they've gone. The parents come through, they say, yes, they've got no experience, and they put this little child's picture on there. The child could have a drug problem. The child could be just a naughty child. That goes into Facebook, that goes into the media, that goes into Google. It goes viral. I mean, I've heard of kids actually committing suicide because they've actually seen their picture on Facebook.
That's always been my main concern when these stories break.
Yes.
And I'm exactly the same thought process as you.
You phone me, I plug you into somebody who can help you. These connections of people that are are good at what they do. And I've chosen them, I've handpicked out those people over 20 years. I know what people can do, and I know what your situation, because I deal in these kind of situations, I know the right people to plug into. I don't leave my computer. The cops call me a keyboard warrior, and they like derogatory about it, but that's fine. But I plug my guys into them or back. So that's very important. And secondly, the most important thing is when you join me, you give me permission to look for you in case of emergency.
Okay.
Now, if you don't give me that permission to look for you, you've got to go to the cops and get a subpoena from the cops to subpoena cell phone companies and everything like that, which will take you a long time, and they don't do it because there's so many people.
Right. I'm sold.
You've got to join.
I'm sold. So how do I register?
You go to my website.
Yeah.
Okay.
eBlockwatch.co.
eBlockwatch.co. You go and register there, or you go to Facebook and check us out.
Yeah.
And you say, no, this guy's creepy. I'm not going anywhere there. Or you say, okay, I like the guy and join. I'm not forcing people to join me.
Yeah.
Come and join me if you want to be safer. Simple.
Andre Snyman, thank you for joining me today. I'll join eBlockwatch once this interview's over. I promise you.
I will delete you off my Facebook page. You won't be a friend of mine.
I did warn you I'm from Springs. Eh?
Yeah. I thought you were from London. I thought I was doing an international show.
Ek van Springs af. Thank you, Andre. It's been a pleasure chatting with you and learning more about your organization. And I, when you walked in and said, "Oh, I'm not really, I was a game breaker," I actually think you qualify, and I'm very happy to have you on the pilot program.
It's a wonderful experience, and thank you as well. And I think this is a fantastic idea, Game Breakers. I'm going to bring all my game breaking cops here, and you can talk to them, and then they can tell you what rubbish I speak. Okay?
Can't wait. Thank you, Andre Snyman. Andre Snyman, the founder of eBlockwatch, was our very first guest on Tom London's Game Breakers.